Good morning and welcome everyone. Great to see you all joining. We're gonna start in just a few minutes. We're still waiting for some more participants, but very good to see you all. Very welcome. We will start in just 30 seconds. So just a little patience and we'll get going. Great. So let's start this webinar on at-home production, literally. We're going to talk about, as the title says, really how current situation is changing workflows, and we're really leapfrogging into a more remote and distributed production workflow, and people are literally doing production from homes. This is the third webinar in our digital experience platform. We had last Friday webinars on cloud workflows and virtualization, key components really in this new workflow environments. Also, there are a lot of other interesting content on the digital experience platform. If you want more details on remote production, for example, how you build those and some experiences from our customers doing big remote productions, download our ebook there. It's under product updates and under the remote production section. So please go in there, yes, download it. A lot of good stuff in that one. Let's go to the first. We are in a very strange situation, I think, both personally and also affecting the whole media industry. And definitely this is accelerating the media transformation towards all IP openness and cloud platforms. And definitely when it comes to production workflows, it is moving really leapfrog into distributed and at-home productions. I think we could see it now. Even performers and hosts are staying at home, being part of the production, and the production crew sits at studios or even at home studios doing the production. Of course, this puts a lot of requirements on the new workflows, on the networks, on how you build your production environment. And I think a lot of this will become also the new normal after this crisis. This just shows a little bit the transformation the industry is undergoing right now. Traditionally, we did our productions on site, typically with big OB events for the big productions. We had dedicated satellite or media networks for doing the contribution and primary distribution, and we have a big variety of distribution platforms. That has started to move already into more remote productions, especially for the big leagues and permanent production, but also for big events. I think Swedish Television last year was a great example. Within 2 weeks, they were host broadcasters of 2 world championships. But using a remote production to their home studios in Stockholm allowed them to just have to move camera sets, while they can reuse all the production environments and had already installed the networks to be able to bring all the feeds back to that home studio environment. Also, the traditional dedicated satellite moving more to IP networks, and the dedicated media networks are complemented by more IP and even internet contribution and primary distribution solutions. On the distribution side, definitely the big growth is in IP distribution and internet OTT distribution, and this affecting the whole workflow to more an all IP end-to-end workflow. And I think with what we're, and the next step that we're starting to see is more distributed, more hardware agnostic, really like a virtualized production environment where you can have your resources anywhere in the cloud, in a private cloud, on a server, or on dedicated hardware. But you build really your workflows on demand, and the same go for your contribution and distribution network into more open networks. And of course, the growth really lies in OTT and virtualized OTT platforms, also moving into cloud more and more. This also opens up for more new enhanced services where we'll have much more graphics, metadata, and multiple camera angles. Usually, I say today's production is a huge waste of resources. You have 24, 46 cameras, but we only send one feed to the consumers. So a lot of that will change over time. Also on the camera side, we'll see, especially for tier 2, will usually starts there and move upwards as you have more AI and machine learning for letting the cameras follow the action themselves without having to have camera crews on site, at least that's said for more tier 2. Another thing is we also see enterprise productions increasing in this situation. So I would say with current crisis, we really leapfrogged into distributed and at-home production environment, and certain parts of that is here to stay. Certain parts, of course, will go back to normal, but will be complemented with some of the new workflows to just enhance the experience for the viewers, where you can bring in both hosts and viewers and crew, production crew from other sites and from at-home productions. I think we skipped that one. What to consider when resuming your live production, and what has this learned us? It's definitely the flexibility of workflows, the ability to put up a new host, a new performer, even sitting at home or coming from another studio, and bring that into your production environments. First mile also again becomes very critical. Be able to do this even over internet, normal internet, and bring again that into your production environment so you can combine that with a more traditional production workflow is key. Quality versus cost, always key. I mean, I always say that doing a high quality production with unlimited budget is very easy. It's also quite easy to do a bad production at low cost. But doing high quality production at low cost, that is the key. I think we are learning that right now, and we will bring a lot of that experience into the future. Security and resiliency also key. Again, just having unprotected services. That's a lot how we do it in this current situation, where we have to do things on the fly and sometimes even improvise. But I think security and resiliency are gonna be two lessons learned from this that we'll bring into the future. Also looking into just the social distancing, internal processes for this. When things starts to open up, perhaps like for big events or sports, we'll perhaps not have even as spectators on the arena, and how then, because that's part of the experience, right? To hear the crowd, etc. How do you make sure that you still can get that type of a enhanced experience in those workflows? Perhaps commentators can't even be at the arenas; they might have to stay at home, etc. So a lot of the things we learned will bring into the new production environments. I think also things we learned is openness, to bring things in, to be very flexible, and to be able to connect to others. Really emphasizes the need for open platforms, for flexible, agile platforms. Typically, where our strategy has been now for quite some time, is to really go into open IP and virtualized platforms. We have put a lot of resources into the cloud, but all this in essence to provide a very flexible platform where you can tailor-mail and set up and orchestrate your workflows really on demand. It shouldn't take days or even weeks to be able to set this up. It should take minutes or even seconds to change your workflows and to adapt. And I think with the first mile connectivity over internet, that really opens up for really next generation workflows. One of the keys, of course, is also low latency, especially when going over internet. It's quite easy, of course, low latency if you have dedicated networks, you have uncompressed feeds, or high ultra low latency, like JPEG XS or JPEG type of compression feeds. But when you need to do this over internet and bring that into your normal production environments, again, low latency or a medium latency with synchronization of frames and sources becomes key. Again, things we have been working on for quite some time, and I think the whole remote and distributed production workflows will be here to stay. If you look a little bit more on the strategies of Net Insight, I think you've seen, and this was part of the presentations last week, that we are changing the whole Nimbra platform into virtualized distributed environment, where you have microservices or apps, whether that's transport apps for the network, for resiliency, protection, etc., or media processing apps for encoding or format conversions or security. You can put those together and really tailor-made and customize your workflows and the customer for the customer needs. And also, it's really hardware agnostic. The same apps and microservices we use on the dedicated Nimbra appliances, as well as on just off-the-shelf computer servers or in open cloud environments. And I think that's really the future. That allows you also to build distributed platforms. Some of it requires dedicated appliances just for scale and efficiency, and potentially also for really ultra low latency, while other parts fits very nicely into just off-the-shelf servers or cloud environments. And to have the same type of platform, the same type of services and apps on all those platforms is going to be key. Same for the network. The opening up, I would say 5 years ago, the Nimbra platform was quite proprietary, with their own dedicated networks, really providing an excellent service, but you need the Nimbras in both ends. That has changed. It's today, you can still do that, but it's open up to also be one of the most agile and flexible IP gateways on the market. And be adding also all the ARQ and Nimbra VA, Nimbra 400 capabilities to connect and tie together the different Nimbra platforms, including the new Aperio platform that we acquired, and also being able to ingest that content directly, whether it's from a Nimbra 600 series, Nimbra 400 series, directly into the cloud and into the new Nimbra Edge platform, that really is a virtualized all software platform for building distributed contribution and primary distribution solutions. And on the receiver side, it can, of course, be Nimbra to Nimbra, Nimbra to Apiri, Nimbra to any type of appliance following the open protocol, whether that's 2022 2110 or the new internet protocol. We're supporting all the ones RISC-60 SRT. And of course, that means also we can go directly into third-party appliances supporting those protocols. Let's go into some examples that really emphasizes the new workflows. One is on news and live events. I think we have seen the changes. Performers are sitting at home. The hosts for big live shows are sitting on homes, broadcasting directly from their homes. We've even seen performers playing together, from different locations, and of course this and on the production side, it's the same thing. People cannot really be at their normal studios, so some might be, but some might also sit at home, and that has changed really the workflows. Again, I said, scalability versus quality, really ability to scale these workflows without losing quality, and having flexible first mile, last mile solutions. It's really become key for providing that agility and flexibility that you need. Another thing that this is also shown is the automation and orchestration of the workflows. If you have time, it's quite easy to set up these type of environments, but be able to do it in very quickly and on demand will gonna be the key going forward. So a lot of the automation orchestration, I think, is room for improvements, but it's definitely things we have been working on and really tying together the whole the Nimbra platform is a step in that direction, and also having SDKs that can be directly inserted into any third-party appliances, for example, for connecting to Nimbra Edge and be part of that end-to-end workflow are key things. Latency and sync, I said, latency for those type of remote productions are key, especially when you're talking about performance sitting at different sites, but also having synchronization and make sure that you're synchronizing your flows enables you to have, I wouldn't say long latencies, but at least medium latency, and then you can compensate for it in the production environment. Again, this is something we do when we're tagging all the content with timestamps, etc., making sure that different sites are synchronized. Again, key things for the future. But all in all, I think most of the things are there. It's a lot of lessons learned, and make sure it's easy to use, and have that automation and orchestration going to be key. Here is just some of the examples how we are building this. You have, and here is Nimbras, but in many cases, I said it's open platforms. You can just have Docker software on PCs, or even third-party appliances, and we just send out an SRT or 60 stream, and they can receive it. The only thing when we do that is, of course, we don't have end-to-end monitoring and performance monitoring and dashboard capabilities on the quality on the received streams. But from that, it's all part of that Nimbra Edge possibilities. And this comes to having, you can even do from arenas or auditoriums or any type of source. You can even do multi-camera environments. You send it over internet. You're using ARQ protocols to ensure the quality, and you sync these streams to your production environment, where you can sit at your home studios, or you can even sit remotely at home, working towards that, given, of course, that your production facility allows that type of remote control and remote participation. I think we definitely start working more and more also now with cloud production. So certain elements of this now also moves into the cloud and sits beside our Nimbra Edge platform directly into the cloud. So we can bring in feeds directly there, and you do actually do the production, and you can sit anywhere and do the production in the cloud. Once you have the content produced, again, you can send it into the cloud for cloud distribution using, for example, Nimbra Edge, or yes, use your normal distribution platforms to distribute it to your rights holder or remote offices. But it's really about distributed content to the right person anywhere with a strong, good quality. One of the things, and we started doing this for many years, for example, with both universities and theaters, and here in Sweden, we have worked with both KTH and Riksteatern, which is a theater that's traveling around the country and doing performances. And we have shown that you can have different performances doing like a music performance, sitting both in Stockholm or even in Finland, and they're playing together. This is just a trick that, of course, with the traveling a fiber, you're using the speed of light, where normal audio is much slower, right? So even when two musicians stand on the same scene, if they're 10 meters apart, that means you have roughly, the audio will take roughly 30 milliseconds to travel those 10 meters. 30 milliseconds, you can really go back and forth across the whole Sweden, two times. So that's why you can really do this by having low latency fiber connectivity like this. So even with ultra low latency compression, you can still maintain and be within those 30 milliseconds. Of course, once you produce that, you can also send it directly out to the audiences. Again, new types of workflows allowing performers and hosts to be remote. Enterprise broadcast is another quite interesting example. Again, really the situation accelerating how we do our shows, how we produce our content. All the big conferences, all the normal training, big training things, or just big, CEO shows have moved virtual and become virtual and digital. And of course, also the production is moving more to remote and distributed productions, especially for the smaller presentations, even webcasts and things like that. If you want to do a more of a high quality production for that, again, redundancy and speed, the quality of that show can't fail. We're talking very mission critical type of content for these corporations, but you have to keep it simple. Crew and talents can be used where they are, and really no travel needed. We have had a number of discussions with the production companies the last month on this. A lot of new exciting stuff is coming up in how you do this in a very efficient way. Of course, be able to distribute this to large audiences and let them interact. It's also key parts of this, and be able to scale this and do the streaming and have live interaction and two-way communication is part of that workflow, of course. Again, the flexibility is key here. I think keyword in all this is agile, automated workflows, just to be more responsive. But also, I think from technology point of view, virtualization, cloud, and IP helps in this. One example that we actually started doing already some 18 months ago is LinkedIn. Was a really interesting account for us, really moving into enterprise broadcasting. where it started off that they just want to connect a couple of their own studios for doing more distributed production and sending both data and video between that using our normal Nimbra 600 equipment. Second phase was when their customers wanted LinkedIn to help them with their productions for doing corporate videos, etc. And they connected into their now distributed production environment, also their customers using, in some cases, the Nimbra 600s, but also the Nimbra 400s for internet contribution. While this year, we also now integrated Nimbra Edge, our cloud-based platform, yes, for scale and agility, but also as a step to get into a cloud environment and cloud production environment for our next step. So quite interesting example, and interesting where the enterprise broadcasting is moving. But I think overall, and I think it ties back to the first pictures we saw before on live productions where they are moving in this situation. And I think it just shows that enterprise production and live production, especially I would say tier 2 type of production environments, are harmonizing, and we'll see a harmonization now in the market and going forward for those type of production environments, where a lot of the production will be done remotely, or some of it even in the cloud, and where talent can sit at the home studios, but even remotely, and controlling the cameras remotely and doing the production remotely, also for enterprise productions. So I think we're going to see the step here. As you can see, the workflows are quite similar. You can bring the feed or feeds back to your production office. You can have talent sitting at home participating in that production. Part of that production can be in the office, part can be in the cloud, and using, for example, Nimbra Edge to just ingest all those streams into the cloud, and also distribute it out to where it needs to be, whether it's in the production environment or in the end out to the remote employees, remote offices, whoever needs to see that content. As you can see, it's all IP, it's all internet, it's all cloud. Of course, for more tier 1 type of productions, internet will be more dedicated IP or open IP, managed IP networks. But apart from that, it's the same type of workflows. So definitely, what's going to happen now? Will this just revert back? No, I definitely don't think so. Certain parts, of course, we will not skip traditional workflows when it comes to the big network studio shows for big live events, etc. But I think they will be complemented with the new workflows and allowing for more flexibility and in the end a more engaging experience for the viewers. Also, but definitely we will see a leapfrog into more remote production. So I think the whole COVID-19, the whole crisis right now, just accelerating the trends we already saw before, and we have made, I think, a leapfrog in getting experience from these new, more remote and distributed workflows. And that will bring with us into also when we go back to traditional workflows. Also, I think a big thing is we will see more at-home productions, literally at-home productions, where talent will sit at home, we'll have commentaries, etc., sitting at home, or we'll have hosts or guests attending from home into the shows. Enterprise broadcast, I think, also, as I said, we'll see overall a harmonization in this. So enterprise production and live production, especially tier 2, as I mentioned, will harmonize, and we will see these flexible, more remote distributed workflows and at-home productions for both the enterprise broadcast and live events. So I think, as always, things like this in crisis, people adapt, we learn, and I think we'll bring a lot of those experience with us into the future, and that will help us really make more flexible and more agile productions going forward. So with that, I really open up for questions. Any questions on this, or perhaps reflections or commentaries? You have a Q&A where you can just put questions into the chat, and I'll try and answer it. This is the poor thing with virtual webcasts. You don't really see the audience. You can't see if you have fallen asleep, or if you are if you have any questions out there. I don't see any questions, so then I just want to thank you for attending. As I said, if you want to know more, there's a quite good ebook on the digital experience platform on remote productions with some of our customers in it and use cases. Also, just book a meeting with us if you want to know more about remote and distributed productions. You can book a one-to-one meeting in the digital experience platform. Otherwise, also, just say thank you, and the new goodbye in these days. Stay safe out there, and we'll keep in touch. Take care. Bye.